So investors, every once in a while, we have this very common question, which is, why didn't I invest in that particular stock way back when? So an example of this could be maybe, why didn't we invest in maybe Amazon when the e-commerce boom has just started, or maybe eBay when the e-commerce boom just started? Aside from that, a more later example would be during the pandemic. There were a couple of stocks which really did well. Amongst them were the stocks which allowed people to work from home much better, and also the pharmaceutical stocks. Having said that, however, there's one thing for certain, which is changes. Changes will always come no matter what. And right now, there is this new trend coming, which is the Metaverse trend. So in this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about what is the Metaverse. And number two, we'll talk a little bit about what stocks one can invest in order for us to benefit from this Metaverse theme. So basically, what is the Metaverse? Over here, there are many definitions thrown by many different people. And different people tend to have different views of what the Metaverse is. But having said that, there was this one underlying message with regards to the Metaverse. That is to give a more immersive experience for users when they use the internet. An example of this is, imagine this. Imagine if we are in a Zoom call, this is me, and you're talking to me, right? So every once in a while, you will say something, and then I'll say something. So it's very two-dimensional. Having said that, however, if this is the Metaverse, I will be wearing goggles, really big goggles, and you'll be wearing very big goggles. Instead of the 2D interaction, right now, you will be right in front of me, and I'll be right in front of you in a virtual environment. So that is the Metaverse in a nutshell, to enable people to use the internet more immersively. And over here, words like virtual reality and also augmented reality is being used, which is entering a virtual world to meet each other. And many people think that this would be the future of the internet. And if this is the future of the internet, there are many new opportunities and new possibilities over there. And that is part of the reasons why a lot of big tech companies have invested quite a fair bit in this new technology. So before we talk a little bit about stocks, I just want to remind you guys, I'm not a financial expert and I'm just a content creator on the internet. So over here, let's just talk about what stocks can one invest in. There are a couple of stocks. I think I'll name the most obvious, which is Meta, previously known as Facebook. Over here, amongst the advantages of Facebook is that, number one, they are planning to invest in the Metaverse in the next coming couple of years, and they have allocated quite a big sum for this particular project. I think the second advantage for them is that they are a social media platform and they have many users, right? Having said that, however, in terms of virtual reality apps in Meta, they are not much at this point in time. So although they say they're going to invest a lot of money in the Metaverse, there's not much of content from Meta at this point in time. The second stock which is linked to the Metaverse theme would be Roblox. Over here, they have many applications and they have many games which enable people to interact with each other in a very immersive environment. And the second advantage for Roblox is that they have a lot of engaged users using their particular platform on a daily basis. Having said that, however, the disadvantage for them is that most of their users tend to be in the younger age group and they don't have that much of spending power. But the management right now is looking towards making Roblox more and more relevant to the people within their 20s, 30s and also 40s. The third stock linked to the Metaverse theme would be Metapod. Over here, what they do basically is that they would digitalize everything from the real world into the virtual world. And the final stock also linked to the Metaverse is Unity. That's right, this is a game engine that will enable people to create games for the upcoming Metaverse. So over here for stocks 3 and 4, something to remember is that during the gold rush, how I like to look at these stocks is that they provide the shovels. So basically for Metapod, in order to create the virtual reality background, we will use that particular technology. While in terms of Unity, when more and more people start creating content for the Metaverse, more and more people will need to use a game engine. And Unity is looking towards the technologies which will enable their developers to create games in the Metaverse. Finally, as an investor, we always believe in diversification. So an example of the benefits for diversification is, assuming if you invest 100% in stock A, And say, assuming if stock A were to drop maybe 40 or 50%. So that will mean that our portfolio also dropped by that same amount. So in order to diversify our earnings, we could maybe opt to invest in an ETF. And amongst the ETF which is focused in the metaverse is called Meta. So these are my recommendation of what to invest in with regards to the metaverse in terms of stocks and ETFs. If you do like this episode, please give me a bunch of thumbs up. If not, I'll see you guys in the next episode.